You cite the sun also rises in a farewell to arms.
Yeah.
I know very little in here about the old man in the sea,
Yeah.
the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Can you give us a few words?
Well, he didn't win the Nobel Prize for the Old Man
Okay.
at Sea, but for all his work. And yeah, I like the Old Man at Sea, but I don't think it's a major Hemingway book. I think it's a very good introduction to Hemingway to be taught as it is taught. I understand as early as junior high school sometimes, but you know, so it's a pretty early book, eighth, ninth grade book, and well, there's more to it than that, of course. But it's really a story about fathers and sons. If you want to look at it, but yes.
I noticed some grammatical and misspelling errors in this book, and I'm surprised that there was no editing done.
Tell us what book you're talking about.
This Side of Paradise.
Oh, okay. Yes.
No spell check.
No spell check.
Not my book, thank you.
Oh, no, not your book.
Just wanted to
not
clear
your
that
book.
up. Yeah.
And, you know, grammar mistakes, I'm really surprised.
Oh, yeah. Well, not so much grammar mistakes, but Fitzgerald would get words wrong, and especially as a young man. And he liked the sound of words so much that if it sounded good to him, he let it go. And he was one of the worst edited. Everybody thinks Max Perkins is a great American editor because he edited Fitzgerald and Hemingway and Thomas Wolfe and all these great writers, but he never touched their copy. You know, he wasn't a words editor. He'd encourage them to keep going and go out and have a drink with them and, you know, be on their side versus the publisher, that sort of thing. But they did not get, Fitzgerald really badly needed editing. There is in the Cambridge edition that my friend Jim West is working on, you do have an established text that, in which most of those Fitzgerald's errors are cleaned up. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Donaldson, I've wanted to meet you for 20 years, and it's a pleasure to see you. I did my graduate work in American Studies at Yale.
Great.
With Professor Clint Brooks, and also with R.W.B. Lewis, the author of the
Sure.
Anatomy, and then Professor Alstrom of the Divinity School.
Professor who?
Sidney Alstrom of the
Oh,
Divinity
sure.
School.
Sure, religion. Yeah.
And mine was on James Agee.
Oh.
However, I'd like to ask you a question.
Sure.
I've occasionally heard the theory advanced that Fitzgerald and Hemingway were, if you will, flip sides. Not mirror image, but flip sides of the same personality coin, if you will. Each man was possessed of a tremendous sense of loneliness, of a tremendous sense of non-fulfillment of the self. Hemingway, after he was finished with the Nick Adams stories, Gertrude Stein, I think, once made the remark, maybe in error, said he was no good after that. He turned into a caricature of himself repeatedly. But the sensitive young man writing about the Upper Michigan Peninsula and so on, this was radically different from the fornicating, bullfighting, hard-drinking, hard-fisting, sock Wallace Stevens in the jaw in Key West personality that became what you might call the glaze of celebrity. And Fitzgerald, who you call a fool for love. All of his life, having begun on Summit Avenue, living, what did he say, a house below the average, on a street above the average, with a poor, shattered Southern father having to move in with the shanty Irish, but still brutally, mercantilely successful relatives of his mother.
That's a wonderful summary. It really is.
I'm going to be summed up pretty soon.
No.
But the point is, if you take a look at the fact that each man, Fitzgerald with his constant attempts to display himself and to gain love and affection, to be part of glamour, all these things, and then the way it crumbled, and Hemingway, with his successful attempt to gain these things, he fell into what Ruth Benedict once referred to as the pathology of the normal. In other words, the admirable, tough, self-reliant American hero going back to American fiction. Here he is with what Gore Vidal once kind of in a campy manner called this paralyzingly butch personality toward the end of his life, where he just absorbed all the oxygen in the room around him and himself or less. Would you say that each man, in his own way, was searching for the construction of a self that would fill a vacuum or a hole that was there in his life and his youth, and he never quite manage to do it. And I love Scott Fitzgerald's comment, and I'll be quiet, which Southerners can't do. Scott Fitzgerald said, I think it was in the crack-up, he said, Ernest writes with the authority of success. I write with the authority of failure.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Well, I think the theory makes a good deal of sense. You said a good one of the important things about both writers. Said it very well. Thank you for it. One thing I do want to go back to, though, is the idea of Fitzgerald being seduced by the glamour of the rich. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think he started out that way, but if you go back, you realize that both Gatsby and Tenders the Night can be read as Marxist documents. It really can. They're attacks on American capitalism. Tom and Daisy are these rich people, rich, careless people who
God bless Tom Buchanan.
who tear up everybody around them. So I don't think that's it. But thank you for everything you said.
Thank you.
I'm just curious about how you got into this real strong interest
On these writers, yeah, and as my wife was kind enough to, she's gonna have to hear this again. Down at Williamsburg. Oh, well.
Could you repeat the question? Could you
Yeah,
can't hear.
the question is,
Can't hear.
how does one get into
How did you get, what triggered this for you?
Yeah, well, my personal involvement with Fitzgerald and Hemingway, I suppose you could blame on my origins in Minneapolis. You're from there? Okay. And Fitzgerald growing up across the river in St. Paul, and I like to think that my mother could have danced with him, although she was really young and had a chance to ask her about that. But she lived in, went to St. Paul Central High School, where a good many of Fitzgerald's friends did, and the same age, and she was a very pretty, person, so I think that could have happened. But I hadn't, when I went to Yale as well, and I've just been writing about it. I should plug for what I hope will be the next book, which is a memoir of a man named Charles Fenton, who taught me at Yale, was a brilliant young man and a charismatic teacher, who influenced a lot of people who came up in the early 50s out of Yale, and who killed himself by jumping off the 12th floor of the Washington Duke Hotel in Durham, North Carolina, and 6 months before Hemingway did. And there are a lot of, and I made it my business to find out about Charlie Fenton and done this memoir, and it's now being shopped. We'll see. I've got a lot of myself in that book. But this, in a sense, it's a vicarious proposition, the writing of biography. You involve yourself in the lives of others. This enables you to escape having to live your own life, I suppose, or having to take yourself more seriously than you might otherwise do. I don't know. I've always been fascinated by writers, and since these young men, Hemingway and Oak Park, Illinois, and Fitzgerald and St. Paul, were a generation, a little more my juniors, but still my seniors, still people I could somehow identify with, and I understood their background, and that's a great start. But then I got into other 20th century American writers, like Robinson and McLeish and John Cheever, others I've written biographies of, and so they're all WASP, American males, which I suppose is bad, but people will always ask me, why don't you write a biography about a woman? Perhaps I should do.